NYMLB Talk, New York's #1 baseball podcast. Now here's your hosts, Chris Pizzaya and Rob Maraska.
And welcome back. We are here for our post-game show of Game 1 of the Subway Series. Rob and I will break down this game and kind of preview tomorrow's game as well here on NYMLB Talk. Rob, what's going on? What'd you think of the game?
It wasn't one of the most exciting Subway Series games. You guys got a leg up on the Mets, and the Mets just did not hit. Pitching wasn't great. Tyler McGill wasn't great. Let's put it this way. I don't know. He was pretty good in April. It looks like when May gets here, he starts to go downhill. So I'm a little worried about McGill, and the Mets have to do something about it. But hey, congrats to you guys. It was a good game for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, it started off not too bad too. I mean, it just looked like he got wild. Like he's got good stuff. It's just that he's got no control. I mean, the guy's just walking everybody. We didn't get great contact off him either, right? The first 2 runs were on the Goldschmidt broken bat, single up the middle that didn't even get into the outfield. That Lindor, threw the ball away a little bit, but I mean, we didn't really hit him hard. It was more about the walking. I mean, just too many walks in that inning.
Yeah, it was too many walks. The Yankees didn't really hit the ball hard, like you said. Lindor should have held on to that ball instead of throwing it to first, but he didn't. He got an error. 2 runs scored. 1 was unearned. So what are you going to do? That's the way it goes. It wasn't like a real exciting Subway Series game like we thought it was going to be. And the Mets, the Yankees defense was pretty good because the Mets hit a couple of hard balls, and the Yankees just, had some good defense. So that was part of it too. They hit into bad luck, but they're still slumping. The Mets, the past 3 games, the Mets have been slumping.
Yeah, definitely. Offensively, you could see they are struggling a little bit. And Soto, once again, that was the big news, right? The big talk, what kind of reaction he was going to get when he first came up to play, to the plate. And of course, got booed, obviously. Some cheers, but that was probably more for the Met fans that were there cheering for him. And I like that he kind of tipped his cap to the fans. Yeah. So that was kind of funny that he did that. That was cool because I think he was expecting that reaction, right? I don't think he was expecting to get any kind of cheers other than from Met fans. So, but I did like what the Bleacher Creatures did. They turned their backs to him, when he went out to right field for the first time. That I really liked. I thought that was cool, other than that, his at-bats, his first 3 at-bats, he walked. And then his next 2, I don't know. He's definitely struggling. You could see it. And I can understand from a Mets side, that, all right, all of April, he had a couple of games where you're like, oh, okay, maybe he's starting to break out. This is it. And then, he's cold again. And tonight, they did bring up a stat on Soto on the YES Network. I think what did I send you? 5 for 36 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah. Which is unbelievable if you think about it. Okay, if you think about that and you think about the kind of hitter Soto is, that is an unbelievable stat, and it's true. He just he hasn't gotten into a groove yet, and the couple a few times we thought he was breaking out of it. He hasn't. He just hasn't gotten in a groove yet, and it's going to happen. That's the kind of hitter he is, but. It's already the middle of May, and, we're waiting to see him break out. And you're thinking, well, maybe being back in Yankee Stadium with the dimensions of Yankee Stadium and how great he hit there last year, it was going to happen. Hasn't happened. Didn't happen tonight. He walked 3 times, and, the Mets made it a little interesting in the 9th, but he popped out. He flied out. So, it's just that's been the season for Soto so far. And the reaction I did like also that he tipped the cap or the helmet, and also he was laughing. He
Yeah.
expected it. He went out there. He was actually having fun with it, which is good. It didn't rile him up or anything. He walked 3 times, so he wasn't swinging at pitches and missing them. He just hasn't been hitting like he should be.
It's got to be a lot though on his plate. Listen, I know he's getting paid to deal with all this stuff that goes on, but there is a lot of there is a lot on his plate, right? Coming to Yankee Stadium, with everything we're talking about. So I get it. There is a lot. So mentally, he's got to get through it, right? Trust me, I'm not making excuses for him. With the money's getting spent, he should be able to handle this, but I could understand it to a point, because it's like, all these feelings of, what happened during the offseason. He probably thought, hey, listen, obviously he wanted to, he wanted to get the biggest contract. I get it. We all do. Every human being would want that. So, but maybe he, in his mind, oh yeah, the Yankees are going to go the extra mile. They'll sign me, but then the Mets did that. So it is what it is. But now I think once he gets I still think he's got to get over that. He's got to get over the fact that maybe, okay, the Yankees had a limit, whatever that number was, whatever they went up to, boom. Okay, that's it. This is what we're doing. And the Mets said, all right, we'll go up to that amount and we'll give you all this stuff and, whatever. And if you opt out, we'll give you extra money and all this stuff, whatever it was. It made him go there, and that's fine. But I think it's a matter of, okay, this is what I did. I signed the contract. I'm here for 15 years. This is it. I just got to settle in and be myself. I can't, make up this contract in the first 2 months of the season. Like they didn't sign me for April and May. They signed me for 15 years. So I think once he gets over that and get back to being Juan Soto. I mean, Juan Soto, we've seen him so far his whole career since 2019, he's just this great hitter, and it's going to come. It's just a matter of time. It's just that, it is getting frustrating to watch him. I'm sure as a Met fan more than anybody else that you're like, okay, it's May, we're in the middle of May. Let's go. Time to hit, you're at Yankee Stadium. Come on, let's go. Give me a big hit here. But yeah, I expect it to happen any day now. Might be tomorrow against Clark Schmidt.
Yeah,
I could see that happening.
That's probably the best bet right now, because Sunday night you have Max Fried going, and he's just been unbelievable so far. Still, I don't know why Atlanta didn't re-sign him. I think it's because of the length of the contract. Yankees gave him the extra year. So I think that's what it is. But, he's been your ace so far. It's good to see TBK out there again, and Joe Dell is out there. Hi, guys. Yeah. Joe Dell. We had a lot of fun with Joe Dell today on the pregame show.
Yeah, that was a great show. Absolutely. And another big thing that we seen was we were talking about it just before we went on, was Devin Williams pitching that 8th inning. I mean, that was the guy that we should be getting. That's the guy that we traded for. And Cone brought up a good point. Like, you can't just throw your change up there. As great as of a pitch as it is, whether it's a change up, screwball, whatever you want to call it, that can't be your only pitch. You got to throw something else, because you could see Alonso was sitting on the changeup. Just the way he was standing there. I mean, and he threw the fastball in there as well to mix it up, and he just had him fooled. So I think that's what he's got to do, is throw that fastball a little bit more. Maybe the slider that he throws. You got to throw other pitches except for that pitch, because otherwise they're just going to sit on it, and when they get it, they're going to crush it.
Yeah. Did he exercise his demons by striking out Alonso and striking out the side? I mean, he pitched a perfect inning. He looked all right against Alonso. So maybe, just maybe, that, is the beginning of him getting back to being the Yankees closer.
Yeah. Hey, that would be great. Even if he's our main setup guy, if he's the eighth inning guy and Weaver stays as the closer, uh, that's fine too. Whatever combination works. Maybe one day, Weaver gets the close, another day Williams gets the close. However they work it out, and here's another thing. If he starts pitching well, and we've seen Loizaga came back tonight too. If
Yeah.
he's healthy, they might get Cousins back, and we know Hill is coming back. Maybe Williams becomes a trade chip at some point, because he's a free agent after this year. So if it's not a good fit, maybe he gets traded. I don't know. Because listen, teams are always going to be looking for a bullpen arm. That goes without saying. The Dodgers have thrown, I think, the most innings through their bullpen. I think they're whatever the number is up to right now, but we'll see. Yeah. Fair and square. Yeah. Listen, and Rodon didn't pitch great, so I'm not going to say, look, I told you so, but yeah, I'm sure a lot of Met fans want to see that happen. What about, would they put him in the bullpen? Would McGill be an option?
I think that's what would be an option. Listen, they have to do something. He has stuff, but like you said before, he doesn't have control. Walks too many batters. Tonight it was ridiculous. So maybe he has to go down and work on some stuff, or maybe go to the bullpen. We have to see, but something has to be done. I mean, if the Mets want to keep doing what they're doing, they have to fix him or get him out of the starting rotation.
Yeah, I mean, he had 5 walks tonight in just 2 2/3 innings. That was the big problem tonight. The Yankees were not hitting him hard. It was just that he was, he couldn't control his pitches at all, and they weren't even close. It wasn't like they were, like, oh, the ump was squeezing him or something like that. I mean, they were just bad pitches.
They were horrible, Chris. And you're right. Miguel never does well in the bullpen. His control, that's what it is, a control problem. He's got to learn how to fix that control problem, or else, I don't know. The Mets have to do something. But it was just one of those games where you were looking for all the excitement, you were looking for the big hits, you were looking for some home runs, and it just fizzled a little. So the Yankees win. The Yankees had a good win. The Mets are their bats are slumping. Lindor, he's slumped. They're slumping. Lindor, Alonso is cooling off. I text that to you before during the game. He had such a hot start, and he's starting to cool off a little. But this stuff happens, and it just seems like it's happening at the same time. And Soto, it just has to. He has to start hitting. He's going to, but let's not wait until June again, like last year, for stuff to start again. Because right now they're still in first place, but they have to start hitting again.
And you know what? And eventually the pitching is going to have a kind of they're going to get into a slump too, right? I mean, is this pitching going to be this good all season long? Is Canning going to be able to keep up with this? Peterson, I think eventually the bats are going to have to come alive, because I know the pitching is eventually going to take it. That it's just, listen, it's baseball. It's human nature. In 162 games, I don't see the Mets leading the league in ERA the whole season. They're going to take a step back a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to be garbage, but just like the bats are slumping, the pitching slumps too. Every team goes through this. So you have to, eventually the bats are going to have to wake up and start winning some games here for them. And listen, they will. They got one of the better lineups in baseball. Another guy that's slumping really bad is Marte. I mean, that guy's, against lefties too. He's supposed to be the guy against lefties, and he's hitting under 200.
Under 200, lefties. Yep. Yeah, I'm not confident right now with him up at the plate. Yeah, it's just rough because everybody's slumping at the same time now, and but the bats will wake up, like you said. It's a
Yeah.
long season. The pitching's going to slump at some point. It happens to most teams. The great teams work through it, and the Mets are just going to have to work through it.
Yeah. And listen, nobody should overreact to, what happens in May, what happens in April, right? It's still way too early. When you start getting past, after this weekend, after May, when you get into June, late June, when you start seeing stuff happen, then you start saying, oh, okay, you know what? Like if Soto is not hitting, late June, or if he's hitting the same way he is now, yeah, then you start saying, okay, what's wrong? Is he hurt? Is he like something's going on? Should he go see a psychiatrist? Is it a thinking thing here? But I you can't overreact here either way. So that's why I think the pitching's going to settle in, the hitting's going to settle in. This is a good team. They're going to be up there, whether they win the division or not. They'll be in the playoffs. I can't see them not. So same thing with the Yankees. Like sometimes, fans are fans. They're going to overreact. Even people on TV, the experts, they'll overreact. They'll say, "Oh, this team stinks." Oh, the Yankees lost. They're 3/5 of their rotation. There's no way they could hold up. And they have. It is what it is with the team that they got. They'll be fine. So we'll see. And then tomorrow we got it's going to be Griffin Canning against Clark Schmidt. I'm curious to see Canning. I didn't really see him pitch yet, and he's been really good for you guys.
Yeah, so far he's been really good. I think tomorrow, it's the weather's changing. It's going to be pretty hot tomorrow. They said like in the upper 80s. So the weather's going to be hot. It's still a chance of showers, but it's going to be hot. I think tomorrow, the Mets, listen, the Mets have to start hitting. Tomorrow's you don't want to say in May a big game, but tomorrow's a big game for the Mets in this series because Sunday night you have your ace going. So the Mets have to do something tomorrow, I feel. And Canning has been so far, he's been good. I'd like to see how he's going to pitch against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. And, after tomorrow, if he has another good game, it's just what a plus he's been.
And he's pitched against the Yankees, so this is nothing new for him.
Yeah.
Being with the Angels, pitched last year, 5 innings. I mentioned it in the previous show. 3 no decisions in the 3 games he's pitched against the Yankees. His second game he pitched in 2023, he went 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs. 2 runs, walked 3, and he struck out 12 that game. So I don't remember it, but that's really good,
Yeah, striking out 12 Yankees, yeah.
Yeah, so listen, he's got the experience against them. He's pitched once already at Yankee Stadium, so I don't think he's going to be that bad tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good pitching matchup again with the way he's pitched. And Schmidt, the last, I think, 3 starts, he's been really good against Seattle, San Diego, and Toronto. He pitched really well in those 3 games after he had a couple of bad outings in a row since returning. So so I think it's going to be another good pitching duel tomorrow, and we'll see.
Now, what did you think about tonight? Ben Rice not being in the lineup. Were you wondering why he wasn't in the lineup?
Kind of. I think it comes down to someone's going to have to sit. This is a good problem for the Yankees right now.
Yeah,
where they have that one extra batter. One of these guys is going to sit every game. Regardless. Like right now, like how are you going to fit Ben Rice in there if Dominguez is DHing with the outfield with Bellinger, Grisham, and Judge in the outfield, right? So I had no problem because eventually one of these guys are going to sit, whether it's him, whether Bellinger's hitting really good. Today he had another good game. He's starting to get his bat going. I think he's up to almost 250, which is pretty good. I mean, he was under 200 there for a little while. So you can't play these guys every game. So someone's going to have to sit. And unfortunately, there's not enough. I wish Ben Rice could play third base. It would be great. But, I know a lot of people said, oh, just put him at third. Again, we can't just throw people at a position and hope that they learn, it could turn into a disaster. So I wouldn't mind seeing them, having them work at third base, maybe on off days, and maybe he gets comfortable there. I don't know, but for now, you can't put him there. So at some point, one of these guys has to sit. It was his turn tonight. Tomorrow, you'll see one of those other guys are going to sit, whether it's Goldschmidt, whether it's going to be Dominguez, someone's going to take a seat tomorrow. So, but I would guarantee you Rice is going to pitch. Excuse me, he's going to bat tomorrow, whether it's DH or first base or catcher somewhere, but he'll be in there, So
and Aaron Boone said no plans to move Rice to third, which of course not. We're not now anyway. That leaves the Yankees. What do you right now? What do you think of the Yankees' best option for third base long term right now?
Ooh, long term. I don't know.
Well, for this year at least.
Until we get to I would say until we get to the trade deadline, and hope that that's if somebody becomes available, right? I mean, that's what we're hoping for. But I would say it's going to be what we're seeing right now. Peraza, with DJ possibly over there at third. I don't think Cabrera is coming back, so we'll see. I don't know. I think it's going to be what we see is what we're going to get for now at third base until somebody steps up. Maybe what, give Peraza the shot. They got this kid Vivas up as well, but he's got to play second until Jazz is back. Maybe Jazz comes back at some point in June, and at least he'll be at second. Then it won't be as bad. Then it's only one position. You kind of got this. I don't want to call it a black hole because offensively it is a black hole. But if Jazz comes back, he's going to be at second. Then you got, whoever you got at third base, whether it's Peraza. I don't know if Vivas could play third. I don't know if he's played much third in the minors. He's been mostly a second baseman. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be what we see right now. It's going to be Peraza. It's going to maybe Vivas, maybe DJ. And they also got Pablo Reyes, who's been awful offensively too. And so, but at least Peraza has got a good glove. I mean, he's an excellent glove. He could run the bases if he gets on. He's got decent speed. So we'll see. But thankfully, the rest of the lineup is hitting. So if the rest of the lineup is hitting, we could take this, But like with the Mets, I'm sure the Yankees going to get into that slump period where nobody's hitting. That's when you need someone to step up, and that's when that black hole shows up at a certain position. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a week-to-week thing.
What about DJ? He is making a lot of money. I mean, do you think the Yanks should give him one more shot being their everyday third baseman?
Yeah, I you know what? I think he's going to get another shot here because like we just talked about, what other options do the Yankees have right now for third base? So I think it's a matter of
I know. Go ahead. I know.
That's okay. Real quick, they don't have any other options, so they're going to give him a shot. And like I said, last year they almost cut him when Jazz came back. So maybe when Jazz does come back, if he's not hitting by the time Jazz returns from the IL, maybe that's when they'll cut him if he's not hitting. That's a possibility because they almost cut him last year when they traded for Jazz. Yep. So maybe that's what they got in mind. Like, hey, listen, when Jazz comes back, if we got no other injuries, maybe we'll just cut ties then. I mean, he's got one more year left on his contract, I think at $15 million. So he's got this year and next year at 15. So if they cut him halfway through this year, they'll just eat that money. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's going to be. I'd like to see him hit. I really do because I do like DJ. I'm a fan of his, and most Yankee fans are. They just know what he is now at this point in his career. He's just
and it's
he's at the end.
frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for the fans, but you never know. He could have some little magic left in that bat, and he could make a difference. But we'll just have to see. And we're laughing because Joe Dell thinks that since I shaved, the Mets have had bad luck. But I shaved this morning, so
it's only today.
Yeah, today.
No, but I'm kind of interested. Do you see the Mets tomorrow making any changes in their lineup, or do you think we're going to see what we've seen tonight?
I don't know if Marte is going to play tomorrow. It stinks that Winker's out because he definitely would be playing. The injuries, that's affecting the Mets a little, but for the most part, I think we're going to see the same lineup tomorrow.
Maybe Beatty or
maybe
Beatty.
Right? Yeah, maybe Beatty and Acuna. Maybe Acuna will be out and Beatty will be in. Beatty's been hitting pretty well. I mean, he came in tonight to hit and he didn't do anything. But Acuna, he was doing pretty good. He's also, I wanted to bring that up too. He's also starting to slow down a bit. So you might see Beatty tomorrow, and Acuna out. Maybe McNeil will start tomorrow. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah. I think we'll see a better game tomorrow. Like you said, the weather too is going to be hot. So Schmidt, Canning, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing how Canning pitches against us tomorrow because he's been pitching so well. So, and hopefully Schmidt continues what he's been doing as well. And then like you said, game 3 is Peterson and Fried. And hopefully that might be an old school pitches duel, I think.
Yeah, Sunday it might be. Yeah,
tomorrow might be the game where it gets a little out of hand, one way or the other. But Sunday should
which will be fun. It'll be fun to see balls going out of Yankee Stadium. That's what everybody wants to see. Sunday night, I agree with you. Maybe an old-fashioned pitchers duel. Let's see, though. We have to see because you guys, I'll tell you, Fried has just been. He's been great, just stepping in for Cole. That was one of the best signings in the offseason, I think, for any team.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I mean, he's been everything they expected, and even more so, I think. Especially with Cole going down. I think we said it before the season started. He had to be the ace of this staff, right? They needed somebody to step up for Gerrit Cole. Simple as that. And he was the only guy that's really capable of doing that. Nobody else could do what Fried's doing. Rodon is not an ace. He's a 2 on his best days.
Yeah.
Or 3. And Schmidt is, he is what he is. I think he's more of a middle to bottom half of the rotation guy. Listen, he pitched really well last year and he pitched like an ace in that first half of the season. And we're hoping we're getting that in the second half of the year with him whenever he eventually returns. So we'll see. To me, the big thing tonight was seeing Loaisiga return. He's going to be so important down the stretch. I mean, that guy's so good. So it's really good to see him back. Good for him. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think it might be more of a hitter, more of an offensive game tomorrow. Hopefully just for the Yankees and not for the Mets, but I can definitely see it both ways.
I'll reverse that, of course. Yeah, but of course. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see that. And then tomorrow you might see Torrens in catching tomorrow. That's a possibility too.
Yeah, usually the day after a night game, right?
After a night game.
So I think Scara might catch too.
Well, wait, what is this?
TBK.
Yeah. I want to see go full-time and cast away. Oh, okay. The beard. I'm TBK. I'm never gonna match your beard. So
no. Yeah, we can't catch up to that.
Yeah,
especially during the summer, we can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be too hot. I'll just, if anything, it'll go back to the goatee for a little while, but we'll
Yeah.
see. Once again, I just want to thank TBK again for the graphics that he's done for us.
Yeah, the new logos look awesome, man. Thank you again, TVK. Anybody who needs a logo for their podcast or for anything, reach out to him. TVK right here on YouTube or anywhere else. Definitely check him out. He could definitely create something nice for you.
Yeah, definitely. But, all in all, I'm looking forward to the next couple of games. On Sunday, we have a show coming up at 5:30, which is going to be pretty interesting. If you want to talk about that for a minute, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. We got the guys from and the gals from Pinstripe Chronicles joining us. They're a great group. If you're a Yankee fan, definitely give them a subscribe as well on here on YouTube. They do shows basically all week. Sundays, the two women do a great job. Lynn and Sierra. I've been on Lynn's show a couple of times. So much fun talking to her about sports, about the Yankees especially. But yeah, definitely check them out. They're on all week. Definitely give them a subscription. And listen, Sunday, they'll be with us 5:30. I don't know if the whole crew will be with us or just a few, but definitely it's going to be a cool show. Maybe not as much for Rob because he'll be the only Met fan, but this will be like, listen, I'm always the only Yankee fan when we have a guest anyway. So, definitely, I'm looking forward to it.
So far, Chris has really been, he's been great. He's had to sit through mostly Mets people. Yeah, even listen, and our first really big guest was former Mets pitcher Ed Lynch, and Chris handled that pretty well. I mean, it was Ed Lynch was a great interview. We had a lot of fun. We're looking forward to having him come back on again. But Chris has been really great. I just wanted to mention on Tuesday, 3 p.m. we're going to have Chauncey Hayden back on again from Steppin' Out magazine. He has a new book out, so we'll talk about the Subway Series a little bit with him, and he'll tell us some more stories. When he was on before the season started, we had a really good time with him. So, that's going to be another excellent show.
Definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Again, Sunday is our next show, 5:30. We're going to preview that game 3. Hopefully it's the Yankees going for a sweep and not for not a rubber match of the 3-game series.
No. I want a rubber match.
We will see. But definitely come back 5:30. Hit that subscribe button so you know when we're coming on next. Again, like Rob said, after that, our next show will be on Tuesday, and we'll have our guest coming on as well. And I guess we'll see you then.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and joining us for the post-game show and the pre-game show if you watch that. And we'll see you on Sunday.